welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are getting ready for an invasion of Hampton. My dear friends are here, Constable Heartless and Lady Hope. Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here as always.
You are such frequent visitors to our lovely town of Hampton, and we enjoy it when you come and invade every year. It's a friendly invasion.
It is,
That's right.
But a little plundering and pillaging keeps things interesting.
So what are the dates of your arrival this year?
This is going to be a grand year. It's June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the Pirates Grand Bash, which we'll have at the historic downtown post office, will be Friday the 1st. And then Saturday and Sunday, all day long, we will have plundering and pillaging. We'll have fireworks. We'll have a complete living history encampment. Good things are happening at the children's area. We have some of the finest piratical entertainment anywhere. So it's going to be a grand festival.
I can't wait.
And it's a special festival.
A special festival. It is always a special festival. Come on, Constable. What is extra special
this year? This year is the 300th anniversary of our dear departed Edward Teach. May he rest in many pieces.
We know where some of those pieces went. His head came back to Hampton, did it not?
It did, and it's still somewhere in the Hampton River, despite the rumors. Nobody's.
You think even the crabs were afraid of that?
I think they probably ran the other way. I'm surprised the Grim Reaper didn't run the other way when it came to Edward Teach.
No, but I will tell you that each year that we put together this festival, the minute that we start to set up, there's a tremendous thunderstorm and or possibly tornado.
There was a tornado.
And then at the end, when we have to go clean everything up, it happens again. And in my opinion, Blackbeard has come into town in the rain and thunder and craziness. And then when it's all time to put it away, he's just taken off to go away as well.
So his spirit comes back because, you know, he's hanging around.
Definitely
and he
with us.
Influences all of you because you are Blackbeard's crew.
We are Blackbeard's crew.
Even without him as the captain.
That's right.
That's true.
You have continued to gather
We've continued the tradition, and the only real difference is, I think, is we still love to plunder and pillage, and we would like a letter of marque at some point, but we are children and family friendly.
Now explain that, because I will tell you there's been some complaints, not very many, but the occasional complaint that pirates were not family-friendly people, and how on earth can the City of Hampton celebrate with you?
Well, I got a comment on that.
Misunderstood.
Yes, we are misunderstood. The thing that we often show, the thing that we try to establish, yes, there was pillaging and plundering. There were lots of bad things. But what we're trying to show is that pirates were humans, just as much as anybody else were humans. And so what we try to show is where they came from. What was the world like at the time that they were doing what they were doing? Were they being asked by the king to go and pillage the Spanish, or asked by the Spanish king to go and pillage the English? Or, you know, there was a lot of economic reasons for what they did. And also there were a lot of social reasons. So that's what we try to show. We try to show what they were as people, not just the end result of their being criminals.
We were originally privateers, honorable sailors employed by the king in private ships of war.
And sometimes different kings.
That's different kings. But
you were kind of armies.
But our problem was King George I at some point in time decided he was going to make peace with France. And he did it all of a sudden and didn't tell anyone until after it happened. And then he put all of those heavily armed sailors with those heavily armed private ships of war out of business. So what's an honorable sailor to do if we have no work and we have heavily armed ships, heavily armed personnel, and no way of feeding our family? So if we can't legitimately plunder and pillage, then we might as well plunder and pillage everyone. You know, we're the ones that actually created the saying that the politicians use, you know, the thing about sharing the wealth. We shared the wealth.
You're sort of Robin Hood.
That's right.
Yeah,
he was in the forest.
No.
We're on ships. He robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. We are the poor, so we rob from everyone and keep for ourselves.
Exactly. And And there is the reality of pirate
Yes.
life, which is not an easy life. I
Not
mean,
at
that's
all.
the other
And-
the history piece
And
of it.
Lady
It was
Hope,
a short life, but a merry one.
that's right. And Lady Hope hit on it. This country probably would have never got off the ground when it did if it wasn't for the pirates. You could think of us as the Walmart of the 18th century because goods and services, stuff that people needed, they couldn't afford because they had such high tariffs and taxes. And there was always a custom officer at every dock to make sure the crown got his piece of the action. And so when we plundered and pillaged, we were able to bring all of those goods back to the colonies and able to share with our fellow man at a reasonable price.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it was reasonable.
It was reasonable.
You know,
Yeah.
you are historically pretty accurate in
Do our
your
best.
depictions of this and the camp and the way of life. And so it isn't, I mean, it is all about pirates, but it is also about life 300 years ago.
That's right.
Yes, it
Which-
is.
Which
Yes, it is.
we,
And when-
you know, today are not real connected with.
We're-
Most
That's
we're-
right.
You're
And when we
connected
live
with it,
that
I'm
way,
not.
as historians, when we live that way over the weekend of the festival and all the other festivals and all the other events that we do, we actually are living that kind of life, and we do our best to make it as period correct as possible. And it's not an easy life. It really causes us as a group, and if, of all the visitors that come to see us, we become a family because you have to survive, you know, and it's fun. It becomes a way of life, and for those of us that stick with it, it becomes our heart and soul.
Well, and so kids today, you know, they don't know life without air conditioning, much
Well,
less
that's true, but-
camping somewhere or living on a
Well,
ship. And
we
your-
have some
your,
pirates the same way that like to have air conditioning.
your diet was not, you know, you did not have a lot of options when you were sailing.
If it crawled and we could crawl faster, we ate it.
Yep.
And sometimes your biscuits crawled pretty fast, from what I
They
hear.
would-
Yeah.
And the leftover biscuits made some pretty good grape shot out of the cannons because that hardtack is just, it's very hard.
I just read the other day that during that time frame, there would actually be buttons for the front of a waistcoat or a jacket that would be made out of hard cheese because it was so hard that you could make a button out of it.
Oh my gosh.
Waste not, want not.
Exactly. Reused everything that you had.
That's right.
Very ingenious, you pirates
And
were.
what we like to do, and the purpose for our historic encampment is we want to preserve the skills and talents of the 18th century mariner. Nowadays, with people have computers, smartphones, smart watches, you name it, a lot is being lost. And you know, we pride ourselves on, you know, we have one of the finest displays of artillery of any place.
So
you know,
do we have now
cannons.
8, 10, 13 cannons? I don't know how many.
Oh my
I
gosh.
believe- yeah,
Quite a few.
And everyone has a name. Every cannon has a name.
The newest one is Tinker Boom.
Tinkerboom. So she's a beautiful little girl, but she makes a lot of noise. But something as simple as firing a cannon, especially if you're aboard ship, because you're not shooting at another ship. You're shooting at where the other ship is going to be at the same time the cannonball gets there. So it's a tremendous amount of mathematics, chemistry, physics. You have to know about the weather, windage, how the sea state, you know, the pitch and yaw of the ship. Very complicated. An 18th century gunner's manual would be considered PhD physics today.
I bet.
So there are a lot that we want to preserve and we want to share, and we want to share it with young people. And it's amazing when it clicks when you're talking to young people and their eyes get really bright. You know, they look up at the horizon or the sun or the stars. You know, being able to explain how they can look at those things and tell exactly where on a map or chart they're physically located. So it is really amazing. It's a lot that we try to share in a very brief period of time during the festival.
So you have history and STEM education all wrapped into fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Because the pirate lore, tradition, some might say myth, is it's something that people really, it's a touchstone for today.
is.
Because it appears to be a more carefree, I get to live my own life. Like, how
Yes.
many of us get to make our own decisions and be rogue,
yes,
you know?
Very truly, very truly. That's a part of what piracy was about. It was about democracy and breaking the social norms of the time. And it does click with today because there is such a sense of independent thought. And so one of the things we teach is that back in the time frame of the golden age of piracy, 1650 to 1730, the breaking of those social norms was a big thing. And today, there is the sense of independence that people have, that piracy was a part of what brought that about.
Yes.
Well, I do think that is a part of it, because you guys kind of rebelled against the crown
Sure.
before the rest of the people on land did, but it did eventually
pirates-
happen.
Pirates were the first true democracy. Most people don't
They
understand.
don't know that.
They
And
were
on your
actually-
ship in particular,
Right.
Blackbeard.
They you know, on a pirate ship, first thing you do is sign the ship's articles. The ship's articles was essentially the first medical care, but it was workman's compensation. If you lost an eye or a hand, it said right in the ship's articles what you were going to be making. A pirate captain was on his or her, because there were some female pirate captains.
Thank you.
But their authority was only supreme during times of battle. All other times, from where the ship was going to go to what provisions or what meals was going to be served, was by vote of the crew. And the captain could be replaced at any time by the crew, and every person,
Mutiny, democracy, it's kind of the same thing.
to a certain extent, but
extent, yes.
it was all up to the crew by popular vote. It didn't matter what station in life that crew member had. And at least in my opinion, the pirates were hunted so intensely by royalty wasn't for the fact that they plundered and pillaged and they were bad guys and they robbed things. It was because the crown did not want that philosophy of democracy to spread into the colonies.
It is a dangerous idea, democracy.
Well, something very,
You know?
very simple as Anne Bonny and Mary Read, who were two female pirates who were on the ship of Calico Jack. They, when it was written about them, the biggest thing that was a problem was the fact that they wore men's clothes, and that was not acceptable. And so when they came into the court at the end of their, when they were actually captured, they were wearing women's clothes because when they got to the prison, they had to be.
They were forced to.
They were forced to. And so the judge would not see them at that time. No, you're women, you have to stay out of this. Now, those two women had fought to the very end, okay? And very interestingly, that gave them time to find out or continue with the growth that both of them were pregnant. And so when they did have the opportunity to come back before the judge, and the judge says, you're going to hang, they pled their bellies, which meant, we're pregnant, you can't hang us, you're going to hang a child as well. So you're going, this, and it gave them time. And Anne Bonny disappeared. We don't know what happened to her. We do know that Mary Read gave birth in the prison and ultimately died. But
Allegedly.
allegedly, oh, okay, fine.
You
allegedly.
just don't give up on any of your
No.
colleagues, do you? You
No,
believe they're still
if
around
there's a
somewhere.
will, there's a way.
True, very
Never
true.
give up.
All right. Well, I do want to end because you guys have a surprise you want to announce.
Yes.
And I am so excited about this.
Well, it's been our dream for many years, ever since the beginning of Blackbeard's crew, and this is actually the 19th year that we're putting on the festival. So we've now been around.
One of the best pirate festivals in the
yes,
country. One of the top, absolutely.
I think
Third from the top.
Third in the entire world.
In the world.
We even beat out the Cayman Islands.
That's pretty hard to do because
And,
just being there would get a lot of votes.
But our dream has been to actually have our own character ship for the Hampton River. And this year, we're going to be unveiling our very own ship that our hope is that we can home port it at the downtown docks, maybe next to the carousel.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a beautiful ship. It's 39 feet on deck. If you count in the bowsprit and the overhang on the stern, it'll take up about 65 feet. So it's not that teeny either, but it's as big as, it's pretty characteristic of the ships of the day.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it about the pirate ship size?
It's a
okay.
very, very characteristic. The actual design has been around since the very early 1700s. And it's a timeless design because
Small and fast.
It's small and fast, and it spans all of Hampton's maritime history, from the days of the pirates through the Virginia Navy, through the American Revolution, War of 1812, and even when the Monitor and CSS Virginia were battling out in the Chesapeake Bay, the smaller gunships were wreaking havoc along the shoreline. So it's a timeless design. It was originally a sloop. The name of the vessel right now, for the moment, until after we acquire it, is the Flying Lady. And it's been around a while. It's all wood. It's beautiful, beautiful. Once we have the ship in Hampton, at some point later on during the year, we will have a ceremony, because you have to have a ceremony, otherwise it's bad luck.
Oh, of course.
And we will be changing the name to the Adventure, which was Blackbeard's true flagship.
No, wait. I thought it was, okay, there's another ship.
The
Queen
Queen
Anne's
Anne's
Revenge.
That's what you hear, yes.
Queen Anne's Revenge was a very large ship. Blackbeard actually captured it twice before he kept it, and told the
Okay.
governor of North Carolina he just found it adrift one day. But he only kept it for a couple months before he intentionally grounded it and broke the keel. And
So no one else could use it.
right.
If you're
Well,
going
it
to get
also-
rid of
it
a
also-
ship, you got to get rid of a
And
ship.
of course, Blackbeard, you know, you have to hand it to him. He, you know, it's amazing. The Adventure sailed after it, it went aground, which he said was an accident. The Adventure came alongside. His original 23 pirates were on the Adventure. He offloaded whatever treasure was on the Queen Anne's Revenge. He did tell the sailors that were on, that he left behind, that he was going to get help, and I'm sure they're still waiting on that help. But Blackbeard started.
Pirate.
Yeah, Blackbeard started his days in piracy on the Adventure, and it was there at every major skirmish that he had, still being operated by his original crew. And on that fateful day, on November 22nd, 1718, during his last battle, it involved the Adventure. He was aboard. And,
All right. You are historically accurate.
and-
That's fabulous.
and
See what I learn every year. I
and
learn new
actually,
things.
the Adventure was such a successful vessel that the Royal Navy had nothing that could catch or go after the Adventure. And that's why Governor Spotswood actually came to Hampton. He rented two Bermuda trading sloops similar to the Adventure from right downtown Hampton, the Ranger and the Jane. And that's what he gave Lieutenant Maynard to go after Blackbeard. And that's the only reason why they could catch him.
Amazing. What
So
a
our,
sad tale 300
It
years
is a
ago.
sad
I
tale.
know we are very, very sorry about that.
but this year,
little
once again,
incident.
once again, the Adventure will sail again after 300 years in the Hampton River.
And we
So
can't
we're
wait. We
very
can't wait until
excited.
the festival. We can't
right.
wait until we get, and the ship hopefully will get here a few days ahead of the festival,
Right.
so we'll be able to
Absolutely.
be inspired
Well, Friday,
and be ready.
the 1st of June, that is the Grand Pirates Bash, and that again is held at the historic post office in downtown Hampton. And the tickets are $40
door.
$40 at the door and $35 ahead of time.
Okay.
You can get in touch with the Parks and Recreation and Hampton.gov or the Blackbeard Festival website.
Okay.
And that will direct you to a phone number. And so folks can go ahead and use their credit card. They can also show up to buy tickets if they like, and they're going like hotcakes.
Okay.
So we only
probably
have
should
room
get
for
them in
400.
advance, yeah.
Yes, we only have room for 400, and they're selling like hotcakes at this point. So that's what's going to be on Friday night, and then
And that is the not so kid friendly part of the
it
weekend.
well, yeah. There
There's
is
a
alcohol
little
involved.
debauchery, I hear.
It is an
It's
adult
geared-
party.
Allegedly.
It's
That's
geared
right.
more for the adult pirate, but we certainly will not skewer any little scallywags
That's
if
right.
parents bring them.
That's right. And by the way, this is a party that's meant to be a party. Now, some folks have their pirate outfit and they are ready to pirate outfit. But some folks don't. Some folks aren't quite prepared for that. Well, don't miss the party because of that. Just come as you are.
Come as you are.
And-
buy a
and-
hat from the costume store.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Bring
Come
a
as
sword,
you are.
Yeah.
Get something.
It's-
Right.
it-
Not an authentic one like
Right.
yours
The-
necessarily, but wing it.
That's
The
right.
Grand Bash is fantasy, so creative attire is welcome. And there is one thing that's very important, though. This year being the 300th anniversary of Blackbeard's last battle, my goal for the festival is 300 pirates, living history interpreters, and 300 cannon shots from the artillery throughout the
Throughout
festival.
the Saturday and Sunday. That should be a blast. And everything Saturday and Sunday is free except
Right.
what you
Yes.
choose to buy.
Correct.
And
And there are period vendors. There are vendors that are there to be able to set you out in
Should you
finery
want
type
to.
of that sort. So don't forget to bring your money for that if that's your choice. And then, of course, there's all kinds of other vendors that have been with us for many years. And so we hope that you will come down and join us.
And I've really spicing up the children's area because, the children like their own area. So I have some pirates that are going to be there during the entire time. And I even have some mermaids that will be in attendance.
Oh, that
So-
sounds lovely. You got
there's-
sword fights. You got all kinds of
And-
stuff. Cannon,
and-
sword fights,
and-
all
right.
weekend long.
And
There's
there'll
lots
be
of fun
other
things to do.
surprises that
Okay.
when you got to come out and see it. And you're going to be truly amazed this year at the Blackbeard Festival.
Yes,
I
there are
can't
some
wait.
surprises, but we're not going to tell you everything.
Don't tell us everything. Let us find out when we
Yes.
get there. All right. Well, thank you both so much. And thank you for watching. I can't wait to see you at the Pirates Bash and at the Pirates Festival. And remember, this year is the 300th year of the demise of Blackbeard. Whichever side you're on, you can still come and honor that anniversary in a fun and historically accurate way. Thanks for watching.